Morning everybody, joining here in Little Oak Survival. So today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite shelter system setups, and that is a flying A-frame with a raised bed. And the materials you need to build this, very lightweight and easy to carry. Stick around. Alright folks, so when we check out our campsite, look for the 4 W's and the 1G, everything checks out good, we like it, awesome. Now let's throw out the ridge line. Now instead of the traditional kind of below the nipple line between the navel, somewhere around there's going to be a ridge line, usually for most A-frame shelters while you're on the ground. We're going to fly this, so we're going to go somewhere on like the nose to forehead-ish area. That's kind of where I find my comfort level is. Depends if inclement weather is coming in, I'll lower it down a bit. If it's going to be nice, sunny, and breezy, I'm going to raise it up. Just kind of whatever's going to be your comfort level, play with it, figure it out. But anyways, got our ridge line here, bowling knot as usual. So we're going to come over to our anchor point, first one. We're going to go around the tree. I'm just going to do on this side so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Have a loop here. Run your line through like so. Make sure your prusik knots are free. These little black dangly ropes. Go back a bit and make sure you cinch down on this knot with a tree bark. Now that's why I like pine trees and rough bark trees like this, just for the fact it really bites into or gives something for your rope to bite into on itself. So good height. Now we're going to go to the other anchor point, this other pine tree over here. Alright, so now we're at our second anchor point. We're going to go around the same side as the original start point with the ridge line. Come back around. To do the trucker's hitch, we're going to simply just take the cordage here, pull it back on itself, pull in a loop. I'm sorry, you guys can't really see that. Then we're going to reach through the loop we just made onto the main line itself and pull away from us, giving us a loop, as you guys can hopefully see. Okay, take our tail end, go through, and so I just kind of realized I don't have, should probably help it go the same way, right? I don't have enough cordage though either way to help tie this off. So one simple trick we can do, and I'll probably have to come on your guys' side to actually show this better. One simple thing we can do is take a bit of extra cordage, right? In this case, another 550 cord piece, whichever knot you want to use, doesn't matter. You can line the tail ends up and you make a figure 8 knot, which is going to be the easiest and quickest way to achieve this, in my humble opinion. Okay. So now, figure 8 knot, we just made our tail end a lot longer. So, I can pull this taunt, strum the guitar, make sure it's nice and tight, pinch off the loop end here. Hope you guys can see that. There we go. Pinch off the loop end here. And then what I want to do is take this tail end and then go back through the opposite way. And it's okay if this gets a little loose because you're going to tighten it right back up. Make sure the new tail is under the old tail. I'm going to pull all that towards you. This big knot through. Like so. So we have the old tail up top, new tail on the bottom. And this is going to create a friction knot for us. Once again, no gimmicks, nothing, right? My hands are free. You guys will see that? Right? So we can really tie this off any way we want to. We can close both lines together. We can do one. Whatever it is that you want to do. So I'm going to simply just do, hopefully that big knot's in the way. Something like so. Take it. I'm just going to do a simple little bow like this. It's a present from me to you. So anyways, we do that. We do the traditional knot, whatever you guys want to do. So now we're going to set up our tarp here. We've got our prusik knots all spread out. I have a third one up here. I'll show you guys why in a minute. But just the usual stuff, guys. We're going to, kind of like my last video, showed you 3 different ways you can secure your tarp to the actual prusik knots, if that's what you want to do. Get my full boy of the tarp all out. Obviously, we're going to go lengthwise. Woo! Alright, have that spread out. Alright, now we just got to get our toggles. Plenty of sticks on the forest floor. In this case, guys, I'm not going to really bother with shock cordage. I'm just going to do the good old through the ground hole prusik knot stuff. If you're expecting high winds or anything like that, I would definitely recommend using shock cordage and not doing the whole cordage through the ground hole. I forgot what I was going to say there. Alright, so I'm going to set this all up and I'll show you guys what's next. Alright, so how I like to attach my shock cordage is going to take some of the abuse of high winds, rains, heavy load, whatever it's going to be, so it's not so abusive on the grommet itself, and attach it to my 550 cord here to my anchor point. You simply just make a bowline knot because it's not going to close on itself no matter how much you pull on it. Just take this, go through the loop of the 550 of the shock cordage, feed the tail end of the paracord through, and just simply pull the remainder of that through. Got a large side knot, and that's how you're going to secure that to all these tie-out points. Alright, so besides attaching the cordage, as you guys know, always go at a steep angle with your stakes to get a nice angle on your roof, okay? Because the steeper the pitch, the more water it sheds. Alright, so when we're out here selecting poles for our stretcher bed here, guys, we're going to try to find something, preferably not pine, just because you got pine sap oozing out of it. You do have these branches in the lower half. If you break them off, they can be pokey and whatnot. And yeah, granted, you can always cut the notches off, but it's just more work. So personally, I'd rather find a good maple tree. You want something that's minimum 2 finger widths, maximum probably wrist size, depending on your weight, and kind of experiment with that as well. But it's just going to be easier with a maple tree because they're not going to be as knotty and not as sap covered and whatnot as a pine tree would be. Now, to measure yourself against a tree like this, all you have to do is quite simply come over to the tree itself, and you're going to go 2 hand spaces above your head. So you're going to kind of mark where your head is. Look, oh, okay. 1, 2. So roughly right there, you know where to cut off. So you're going to cut the tree down, you know where that's marked at. You can use your knife, fingernail, stick, whatever you want to do to mark that off with. Cut it down, cut it up, and bring it over your campsite and get ready to make your stretcher bed. Okay, so to make the blanket stretcher for our stretcher bed, what we're going to do is simply lay our blanket out like so. Try not to get on the forest floor. Take one of our poles, kind of find the 1/3-ish mark. We're going to fold that in on itself, like so. Now, we're going to take the other one. We're going to kind of free throw it on there is what I do personally. Then what you want to do, kind of measure the width of your chest. So mine's kind of like elbow to outstretched fingers. And what you want to do is simply measure and pull this pole with the blanket towards this way until you achieve the desired width. So, how you measure that out for the stretcher portion of our stretcher bed. Alright, so there's a multitude of ways you can actually support your stretcher bed. Now, if you have the poles exposed and whatnot, you can use quad pods, you can use tripods, what do you want to do there. If you have extra cords and time to do such a thing, awesome, go for it. You can make it really fancy and do some bedposts out of rounds, as long as you have crossbars on the ends and the sides. That way it's actually not going to rock on you and you sleep and collapse on you while you're sleeping. That really sucks, especially if the ground's all cold and wet. Not a good situation. Me personally, the easiest way you can do this is simply cut down a tree, since you're going to be making firewood anyways, or find a dead tree, much like this aspen I'm already cutting up here. Cut these log segments to size to fit your stretcher bed onto, and just build it up with some support sticks on the outside, and there you go. It's not going to take much effort to do this, guys, and personally, this is my preferred method. Is it the best method? I think each of those I mentioned have their own pros and cons, and it's really up for you to try out and decide for yourself. Anyways, though, I'm going to cut this up, guys, and I'm going to get my support system up and show you how the bed goes. Alright, so at this point in time, we have our A-frame up, we have our raised bed up, we have the stretcher bed made, put in place, and held in place by two 16D nails on either end of the support poles, as you guys can hopefully see here on this blanket end here. One on the inside, one on the outside. Why is that? That way, in case you're tossing and turning, which if you're the type of sleeper that does toss and turn, probably not the bed setup for you. I'd probably aim for an actual supported, sticks all the way down and secured somehow type bed for you for a raised bed. Now, speaking of raised bed, we do have the 3 logs I was talking about. This is going to be about 7, 14, somewhere around like 16 inches off the ground. Now, why do we want to sleep off the ground in the summertime, or honestly, period, is because, one, we're battling conduction, okay? We're not going to have our body heat sapped away from us by the cold ground. Number 2, we have to worry about ticks, chiggers, mites, and everything else that bites. So venomous snakes, venomous lizards, just a whole host of bad things on the ground that can be creepy crawlies, come up and snuggle in at the middle of the night, and you roll over and make them mad, they bite you. So then you got to worry about, okay, anaphylactic shock, venom. You have to worry about, okay, am I going to die from the venom? Along with that, you gotta go, okay, infection from a wound, right? So there's all sorts of bad things. Now, is this going to be 100% foolproof? No. Would it help discourage them? Hopefully so. Is it going to save you a lot of grief? Possibly. So that's kind of what we got going on right now with the stretcher bed. Now we're going to put up the mosquito netting and get that luxury item in place. Alright, so our luxury item, guys, is mosquito netting. This is from Stand Sport, as you guys can read. It says double because it's actually meant for 2 cots side by side, and it's big enough to cover both those cots, giving you a peaceful night's rest from all these flying around insects and flies and mosquitoes from biting you in the face while you sleep. Supposedly so. Now, I think this is worth its weight in gold, especially if you have to sleep outside, and if you're not used to it, and you have a bunch of stuff flying around, crawling you, biting you, you're not going to get any sleep, and sleep is crucial in a survival situation. And or it's nice to have camping, because who wants to sit there and be bit up by bugs all night? Not me. So, I have 2 resources here. I have this acoustic knot up here, and I'm going to toggle and throw the top of this mosquito netting, because it has a loop that it connects with. So I always do that if I wanted to, or I can just use this carabiner, which I just use the carabiner personally. Now, granted, the acoustic knot is kind of nice because this does slide around a little bit, but that's okay. I use that until I adjust it, then I kind of throw the acoustic knot, or I just kind of tie it up with a piece of cordage, whichever. So, to deploy it, rather easy. Kind of come to the center of your shelter. Be careful not to pop anything. There we go. Bay comes free. And you can sit there and simply throw it over your bed. Now, you got to be careful not to puncture holes in it, obviously, because it's not made of the most sturdy material. And it does its job pretty good. So, what I like to do, take a stick or my stool, kind of drape it over there, because you kind of want space away from you, so they're not going to bite you when your body's right against the netting. Now, what I'm going to do is hopefully find a way to rearrange this so you guys can see me crawl into bed and see how it actually works. Alright, comparison time here. So, right here, obviously 2 tied out points here in the mosquito netting, just bunched up and tied individually, and then it goes around the tree behind me. But as you guys can see, this gives you a little bit more room for shoulder-wise and whatnot, move around a bit. You can toss and turn if you want to, even though this bed, personally, I would not toss and turn around too much because the blanket might give way. But there's that design there with the 2 tie-outs. Let me show you the one. So here is the 1 tie-out right here. So you can kind of see it's a little closer. I would probably put my feet here, post my shoulder and my head, just for the fact that that would be touching my shoulders over here, and possibly my head there. But other than that, just the comparison of the 2, why you want 2 tie-outs, not just 1 on your mosquito netting. Alright, so this bed, guys, you have to get in all at once. That is kind of the big disadvantage of this blanket bed here, this blanket stretcher. But if you can kind of get in there by holding yourself up on the support beams, as you guys will see, it works out pretty good and it's pretty comfortable all night. So, I like to kind of position myself up ahead and lower myself down. Perfect. Suspended. Now, to get the mosquito netting where it needs to be, like so, away from me, Do your job, mosquito netting, protect me. Okay. That's it, guys. That's the blanket stretcher bed. I know it's a super exciting thing to watch, but you know, this is a very fun project to do while you're camping. Try it out. Teach your kids, teach your friends. But this gives you a really nice night's sleep. You're protected overhead from the elements, from rain. The sides are elevated like so, as you guys can see, because you get that nice convective breeze cooling you off. And you're battling conduction from the ground because you're not even touching it. But on top of that, anything that's going to bite you, like ticks, chiggers, and mites, anything that bites, you're away from because of the logs. Now, it's not 100% guarantee nothing's going to come snuggle you in bed, but it's definitely going to reduce that risk. So, anyways, again, stretcher bed. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe. And as always, stay frosty, prep up, y'all bless.